Hey guys, it's been a very long time, I think, since I did a video. My last one was when I went to Belgium, and then I didn't film any content for when I was in Holland because I didn't really enjoy my time there, so I just wasn't really taking a lot of pictures and stuff and ended up leaving early. But I wanted to do a video on my experience with Marc Brunet's art school program, just because I think it's just nice to hear people's different opinions, because it's quite a lot of money, it can be, depending on what course you're paying for. Though I think the live feedback one might be stopping soon, I'm not 100% sure. I paid for the one that doesn't offer live feedback, but I had access to the forums. Whenever making large purchases, I always really like to get an opinion from other people, just because I want to make sure that it's worth my money. I believe this course was about maybe 500 pounds or something. It obviously converted from dollars when I paid for it, but it wasn't too much, and I also paid for it in installments, which is something that I really appreciated, because a lot of the time with these courses, if they don't genuinely offer a installment process, then I won't pay for the course, because not all of us can just pay for something that's like £600 or above, because the feedback class was obviously a lot more. I want to say that if you're thinking about purchasing Marc's course, then it's really important to understand if you like him as a teacher. There have been plenty of times where I've looked at videos where I thought, oh, I might as well just purchase this from this artist because I've watched 2 videos of theirs. But you have to make sure that their teaching style is going to match up to how you're able to learn. I like Marc's ability to sort of be funny but also actually teach you stuff, so it's not like completely boring, because I think if someone's just reading off a sheet of paper and they don't really change in terms of how they're talking, I don't know, it's just very boring for me. It's really hard for me to pay attention. So I used to always watch his YouTube videos, and I still do now. So that's why I thought, okay, it's really great that he does this program, because I feel like I'll be able to learn from this person. I purchased the one that doesn't offer live feedback, but I had access to the forums where everyone else from the art school program can post their journey as well, and everyone helps each other, which I really like, and I still post on it to this day because it's very helpful. So a breakdown of the course is for digital artists. I believe that you would be able to do the course with the pen and paper, but in all honesty it's better to just do it digitally. I don't have Photoshop, but I used my iPad and I used Procreate, which was completely fine. In the beginning stages of the course, it's broken down into different terms. You have a welcome to art school video, and then also there's a PDF of how to join the Discord, and then also the forums and stuff, and be able to post your work. But I thought that the beginning was really good because also I'll put pictures of like my work when I'm speaking about different terms and stuff. I will remember to do that. So term 1 was a really good introduction in terms of what to expect, and like just a nice ease into it. So I think this course is really good if you're a beginner, and if you want to refresh your fundamentals as well, just because the way that he teaches is just, it's just very easy for me to follow. Like I mentioned, it's really hard for me to follow some tutorials and everything that I watch online, which does slow down my progress quite a lot, because it's hard for me to retain some information if I feel like I'm bored, basically. We were looking at perspective, and then also figure drawing, and how to find the line of action and things like that, which was really helpful. I sort of had experience in that, but I've not had so much experience with drawing the human face or the body, so this course was really helpful for me in that. But in terms of perspective, if that's like your thing, you want to become really good at environments, I would say maybe just purchase maybe term 2, and then there's like some later ones, like term 8, 7 and 8 as well, that you can see his process for drawing environments, because I think this course is a lot better for if you want to do characters. Maybe he has also mentioned that he does like character design a lot more than doing environments, even though he's capable of doing both, and he does teach that. But I think for me, because I was interested in characters, I got a lot more out of this course in terms of the anatomy, and also the figure drawing as well. So yeah, it was very easy to follow, and then also we had to draw the body using cylinder forms, which was really helpful, and I was getting a lot more confident, and also having to draw over the human body was really helpful. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, because in my mind I thought of that as cheating, but it's literally not. What really helps, I think, is putting the pictures like side by side, and then being able to like draw limb from limb. It's really helpful. And then also you get assignments for each term. Difficult thing for me, which was not having the live article program, was trying to pace myself. I think he recommended spending 2 to 3 months or so on each term, but for me and my attention span, I think I was spending a few weeks on one and then moving on to the other, just to see how much information I had retained from the previous term, and if I was feeling stuck, then I would just go back. So I think that's what I did for me. I don't know if that's good or bad, but with me and my attention span, I think it was as good as I was really gonna get. Term 2, we sort of picked up the pace, but not in a way where it feels like you're just jumping from one to the other. Now I'm talking about this in terms of the anatomy, the human anatomy, as opposed to the creature design that we ended up doing. That felt like quite a big jump because it was just quite brief, and then also the environments as well. So I would probably say in terms of detail, anatomy is top, then perspective, then the creature design, and other things like, I think he mentions mech design at some point. But the good thing is that if you purchase the whole program, you don't necessarily have to look at every single thing if you're not interested in it. And then on the contrary to that, if you're not interested in buying the whole program, you can buy the different terms and just read and see which one you're interested in, so that you don't have to spend a lot of money if you're not able to. So term 2 was really good for me because we were able to improve our foundations in drawing the face, which was so good, the way that he constructs the face and talks about it, and the lessons don't feel very boring, and the way that he explains things. Posting to the forum after you've done some of the assignments in the term is literally the best thing in the world, because you can get feedback within maybe like 2 hours or something of people seeing your work. I'm on the UK time zone. I don't really know where majority of the people are that are taking these courses. I just assume America, but I get feedback quite quickly, especially with things like anatomy, because people can point that out a lot easier because they can see what's wrong. And then also I gained a lot more confidence in terms of perspective with term 2, because a bigger assignment, which kind of intimidated me a little bit because it's so hard for me to get my head around perspective. So I felt like it was a little bit of a jump, but I don't know if other people feel the same way. And then term 3, we moved on to the clothed figure, and then more anatomy, and then also talking about ZBrush. ZBrush is something where you can make 3D sculptures. For me, I didn't do that one because, first of all, I don't even have the software to be using ZBrush. And maybe one day when I do, I'll go back to it and look at the ZBrush classes, because I think it would probably be really good. But I think there's only 2 of those. So maybe if you already have experience on ZBrush or just want a little introduction, then those would be good for you. I'd liked maybe if there were a lot more classes on that as well, because I think that's something that is quite hard for me to understand. So for that one, I wish that there was a little bit more. Marc has been given feedback and has responded saying that he is updating the course. I think he's planning to do something to help people with their portfolios and stuff like that for term 10, and also potentially making some changes or adding some things to the other terms. So that's really cool. And then term 4 is, this program is so good if you really want to focus on anatomy, because we then further go into it, and then we also start to talk about color and light. This one was a little bit hard for me to get my head around as well, because along with perspective, I struggle with lighting and things like that. However, he did give a really good resource of coloradobe.com, I believe it is. So if you're struggling to find colors and ones that match and go really well with each other, then you can just go onto the website, pick maybe red for example, and then it will give you these different formations of colors like split, complementary, and all these different ones. So you'll be able to easily find colors that match with the palette that you're going for, which is really helpful. And then he also was giving a lot of advice on which colors are sort of a little bit harder to match in terms of like the split complementary, if that one is easier or harder to base your character off of for the colors. So that was super helpful. I think learning about color and light, that's a really good in-depth one. I think if you're struggling with that, then to definitely buy the term 4 one. I don't know if it's broken down into different categories or you have to buy the whole like one term, but I think that was really good. 5 I think is sort of where we maybe bounced because animal and creature drawing was added in, which I think for me, because I'm such a beginner with that, plus I don't know how interested I am in that, it was a little bit difficult, but it was a nice little introduction. But again, it would have been nice if there were some more classes to do with that, just for those that are less experienced in that sense. We got into character design and then also sort of the tropes for different characters, which is my favorite thing in the world, so I really loved that. And I learned a lot about shape design and I don't know what it's called, like when your character has sort of a key point about them and that's what draws people in and that's what's recognizable about the character. We do get more lessons in term 6 about color and light theory, which is great. Then also composition and storytelling, telling us about things like the golden ratio, and then there's like all these different, where is it, okay, I have it. So ratios like triangles, thirds, the golden spiral, diagonals, and symmetry. And that, honestly, I don't really know how much I put that in my work till now because I don't do a lot of stuff with illustration, which I would like to, but I think the way that he was describing that and showing how he does that in his work, or especially with his earlier work, was really good to get a grasp on. But once you start to get more confident from the first terms and you move into term 6, I think it's really helpful because he goes into more depth with color and light theory, and then also with composition and storytelling. I think those are the best. So if you already have the good fundamentals down and you just want to sort of know how to elevate your illustrations, for example, and stuff like that, then I would definitely recommend to check out those. And then term 7, oh okay, I guess this is when the assignment sort of stopped because then we go into the personal project and talking about that. So I would just say that these are sort of just bonuses on how certain things are. I'm not gonna lie, by the time I got to this point, I was so eager to finish off and do the personal project that I was like, let me just hurry up and go through these lessons. Like for example, the physics of material is a really important one, because I think I mentioned before, yeah, okay, so like in the earlier classes he mentions about clothing, weight, and stuff like that, and then like a few terms down then he comes back to mentioning about physics of material and stuff like that, and then why it's so different. So maybe if those two were close together, it would help with retaining information. I think the best part of this is terms 8 and 9, and then there is one for term 10, but that's more so just talking about digital illustration. But I think when it gets into doing the final project, it's really good in terms of the way that he talks about his design process for doing character concepts and then also coming up with the environment concepts. So the way that he creates characters, where he gets his inspiration from, the way that he writes down how his story is going to be, I think was such a great way to end the whole course, because I didn't know it was going to end like that with a final project. Which that's my favorite part, because I thought, oh okay, I've watched all of these and I'll just get my certificate, but you actually have to work quite hard to get that certificate, and I don't think many people go for that part, which is why I think maybe he's a bit shocked when people do. So I I think it took me maybe like 2 months or so to do my final project, just because my skill level, and I was finding it like quite hard to just come up with ideas. The hardest part was illustration for me, because with this course I feel like I got really good at doing fundamentals and understanding like things here and there, but then putting everything together was a little bit foggy for me at times. So I'll put pictures up of my illustrations I did. Yeah, but I will also put in some pictures of how my work was looking for when I did hand in my project last year, September or November or sometime. I think that's when I handed in my project, or maybe even January, I don't know. But how much I've improved since then with my character like ideations and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, I'm really happy with the fact that I started that course and finished it and got my certificate. And then that's when you're able to email your work to Marc, and then you get feedback on it. So I was told that I need to work on my colors and then also patterns as well. Yeah, and then he said that my work was really good, which was nice, because I'm looking at it now and I'm just thinking, was it good? That's what I was really nervous about. I think it took me maybe like a week, just over a week, to get feedback from him on my work. And yeah, then after that I just posted to the forums that I'd finished, and then people were saying congratulations to me, and they hope that I continue to post and share my work on the forum. So I think it's a really nice sense of community that you get when you post your work on a regular basis and when you help other people. I'll wrap it up by saying what my pros and cons are really with the art school program. So the pros are that you can pace it around your busy schedule, just sort of stop when I need to, and I don't feel that constant pressure. But then also that can be a con, because it's like, if I stop, will I ever start it again? So there's a good amount of information in there for majority of the topics, especially anatomy. I think is really good. If you're really focused on anatomy, then this program is really good for you. Also, there's a good sense of community with this, so you can post your work on the Discord chat, which I didn't really do all that much. I would normally post it to the Cube Brush forums. Back to it, and the good thing about this is once you purchase it, it doesn't disappear or anything. It will just stay there for a really long time. I can't remember when I bought the course, but I remember I bought it and I did like one lesson and then stopped, so it will always still be there. And really the only major con with this program is that pacing sometimes jumps. For example, with the creature design, it would be nice to have like creature design 1 and creature design 2, not just have one lesson of one thing, because then it leaves room for more question of like how to do this and this. My next endeavor will be to do CGMA, so CG Master Academy. It's a course which is about maybe similar price to this, but it's for about 8 weeks, and I'll be doing that on the fundamentals of character design. So I'll see how that goes and probably give feedback about my experience, because I don't see a lot of people doing reviews on CG Master Academy. So I'll see if it is worth it and how much I'm able to take from it. I think that's another thing as well. Some people might think something is a waste of time, but it depends how much effort that they're putting into it. So take what I say with like a grain of salt. Is that the saying? Like, bye.